which we affectionately, refer to, the University of Miami, UM, U Miami. So I'll go over our opportunities. We'll focus in a little bit on AI, one of the majors that we offer, actually a few majors that kind of focus on artificial intelligence, AI here at UM, for those who might be interested in that. And then we'll discuss the application process to apply to the University of Miami. And as I mentioned, if you have questions, make sure you jot those down so that we can answer those kind of at the end of the session. But to start off, I kind of want to focus in on who we are. So we are a medium-sized private research university that's located in Coral Gables, Florida. So we're all the way in the southeast part of the United States, actually closer to Cuba than we are to parts of northern Florida. So we're a very international city, very global, and that's very much incorporated kind of into our culture. So we were founded back in 1925. And since our founding, we've grown to become, like I said, a medium-sized research university, and we have about 12,000 undergrads. So I really like to think of that as the sweet spot. It's large enough where you'll have access to excellent research opportunities, internships. You'll get the big school spirit that many students from abroad are looking for in a U.S. institution. But then once you get into the classroom, you'll have those small class sizes where you're really going to get to know your professors, your peers. Average class size is around 16 to 27 students. Our student to faculty ratio is 11 to 1. So really small classes where you'll get that kind of personalized aspect. So it's a bit of the best of both worlds in that sense. In terms of our country representation, we have students from all over the world. You can see here over 100 countries are represented on our campus, and this data is from last fall. So once we kind of conclude this cycle, this will be updated, but we just wrapped up our fall 2026 cycle, so we're going to be welcoming a new class this upcoming fall. And hopefully that number will grow, right? About 8% international, which just encompasses non-US citizens. So a good portion of our population is also maybe US citizens who are living abroad, dual citizens. So you're really going to get that global feel, not just from your campus, but also from the city of Miami. Now, we do have 9 undergraduate schools and colleges here at UM. So really there's something for everyone, is kind of what I like to say. So everything from architecture, which is a 5-year program, our College of Arts and Sciences, which is our largest school here at the University of Miami, engineering. And then we also have some more niche kind of majors. So we have our Rosenstiel School of Marine Atmospheric and Earth Science, of course, given our location, really focusing in on those marine sciences. We have an excellent College of Engineering. And then we also have communication, we have a music school. So there's really something for everyone. Something that I like to kind of speak to for our schools and colleges is that we do have a direct admission program. So essentially, what this means is that when you apply to the University of Miami, it'll ask you to select a major within one of these 9 undergraduate schools or colleges. And so, what this really allows is for students to select an area of interest for them right off the bat. At some schools, you might be applying as an undecided or undeclared major. For us, we ask you to choose a school or college because we really want students to be able to start off taking classes that they're passionate about. So if you know you want to do engineering, we want you to be taking engineering classes from the minute you step on campus. Now, that being said, you're not limited to your particular school or college, so many of our students will take courses across all of these schools or colleges through our Cognates program, which I'll talk about later. You can also apply undecided within a particular school. So, for example, let's say you know you want to do business, you're not sure whether that's marketing or finance. You can apply as an undecided business major and work with an advisor to kind of pick which track is most of interest to you. So, there's still the option to come in undecided within a particular school or college. Now, I mentioned that I wanted to focus a little bit on AI here at the University of Miami because it's so hot right now. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about a few majors that we offer that really kind of allow you to explore AI. So these majors are going to be across a variety of schools and colleges. We have a computer science major. We actually offer both a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Science, as well as a minor in computer science. And this is a great option for students who really kind of want that computer science focus. The Bachelor of Arts would allow for kind of a more exploratory feel, whereas the Bachelor of Science is going to have a little bit more of a math base. But you can explore data science, AI within those fields. Also, within the College of Arts and Sciences, we do have a data science and AI major. So, this is for students who might want to specifically focus a little bit more in on that data science element and really get that AI background. And that's also going to be a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Science. And then we have a relatively newer major within the School of Education and Human Development that's data analytics and intelligence for social impact. This is also going to focus a bit on AI, but more on rather than kind of the more STEM oriented fields, it looks at how AI really engages with humans. So, more of like the human impact within AI and how that kind of plays into a day-to-day experience with people. And then, of course, going back, we of course have focus on AI within electrical and computer engineering. So these are actually two majors that we offer within the College of Engineering. So it can be either be electrical engineering or computer engineering. At the master's level, we do offer a master's in electrical and computer engineering. So that's going to combine it at the master's level. But at the undergrad level, you can focus in on either one. And many of these are also going to have minors, right? So if, for example, you want to focus in on a different area and just pursue a minor, getting that experience in AI, you could do so through computer science, through engineering. And so that's a great way to engage as well. Now, I wanted to focus in on kind of how our students are engaging with AI here at the University of Miami. And I would say the primary way students are doing that, besides their major, is through experiential learning. So, UM is really big on experiential learning, which essentially means learning by doing. Up to 80% of our students are going to be engaging in some sort of experience during their time here at UM, whether that's research, an internship, a study abroad program, some sort of project. And I wanted to highlight a couple ways that we're doing that through AI. So we have an annual AI hackathon that any student is welcome to participate in, where you can really get that hands-on experience in artificial intelligence, a lot of research opportunities as well. And I'll talk about research here at UM in a little bit, but we really encourage our students to engage through research here. And if you have a particular focus within AI that you want to pursue, we would encourage you to do that. There's a whole database on our website where you can learn all about these projects that our students are doing through AI. So up to now, and I just checked last week, we've had 219 projects specifically focused on AI completed, and that number continues to increase. So you can definitely go check out all of the projects that we have in our database and what students are really pursuing through AI. Now, we also have a number of tools accessible to their students, and they're constantly expanding this, which is pretty cool. AI, it's changing on a day-to-day basis, and depending on the platform, it can look completely different. And so these are a lot of the tools that we have accessible to our students to incorporate AI into their project work. So everything from Copilot to Help Me Write, Windows, depending on kind of what your preference is, what systems that you have for your personal use, you can incorporate this into your projects. And one of the great things is they're teaching you how to implement artificial intelligence into your work in a productive way. So we want to make sure that you're able to harness AI and use it as a tool, as an advantage for your work, rather than for it to be kind of an impediment. Now, we also have an AI enablement team. Again, this is going to help students kind of learn how to use AI in their work. The artificial intelligence team through UM also has office hours, which I thought was pretty cool when I was doing some research on this, because you don't even have to be an AI major to necessarily utilize this. If you want to learn more about how to implement AI in your work, they offer office hours where you can stop by and engage with them. We also will have industry and career insights so you can learn more about what fields AI is being used in. It takes you everywhere from public health to, of course, computer and software engineering, programming. And so it'll post kind of a database of various platforms that AI is being used in, and it'll include job listings, internship opportunities, and more. So I would say this is something that is really changing on a day-to-day basis. So I definitely encourage you to check out our website specifically for the AI tools as that's being updated on a daily basis. We just got access to even more Copilot features last week, for example. And so this is something that they're constantly monitoring and encouraging our students to use because it is really growing on a day-to-day basis. All right, so I want to kind of pivot back to talking a little bit more about generically the University of Miami. And I wanted to highlight our Cognates program of general education. So, a lot of US institutions will have their own interpretations of how you'll pursue general education. Essentially, in the US, you're going to have courses for your major, which will encompass the majority of the coursework that you complete for your undergraduate degree, but then you'll also have more generic coursework that you have to complete just to earn your degree. At UM, that's called our Cognates program of general education. So for Cognates, we essentially divide up all of our classes here at UM into three different categories. There's going to be STEM, arts and humanities, and people and society. And what we'll ask you to do is during your time at UM to take a set of three related courses in each of these three areas. Now, one will be your major, so that's automatically going to fulfill one. And then the other two, you can actually pick the courses that you take. And so this is what really allows our students to pursue different areas of knowledge. So, for example, if maybe you're hearing me talk about AI and that's of interest to you, but you have a really different passion that you want to pursue, you could pursue a cognate in artificial intelligence and still do a major in something else, whether that be business, engineering, communication. And so this really allows our students to explore a variety of different areas of knowledge during their time here at UM. So we like to use our mascot, Sebastian, as an example for how you can design your Cognates program. So Sebastian is a bird, and he loves to fly. So naturally, he chose aerospace engineering for his major. Now, this is automatically going to fulfill his STEM cognate, and so he doesn't need to worry about that one. Sebastian is also not so much of a talker. He's more of a thinker. He's a bird. He's a little bit on the quieter side. So he was naturally inclined towards philosophy. So he decided to pursue this for his arts and humanities cognate. And Sebastian realized that he was really interested in philosophy. He wanted to take a few additional classes. So he worked with his advisor and he was actually able to pursue a minor in philosophy because he simply added two more classes and that gave him a minor. So this is very common to see as students will just talk with their advisor, see how much more it'll take for them to get a minor in something and just add it on. Now, lastly, you'll see Sebastian in all of our sports games. He loves supporting our fellow Canes, going to those games, and he wanted to pursue this academically as well. And so he chose sports communication for his people and society cognate. Now, this is more of a passion and interest of his, but you can see how he's really getting an interdisciplinary degree through his Cognates program, exploring all different areas of knowledge during his time here. So I mentioned when I was talking about AI that research is really big here at UM. We are a tier one research institution, a member of the AAU, and this is a really prestigious award where the most prestigious research universities are part of the AAU. Essentially, what an R1 research institution means is that we're prioritizing the undergraduate student research experience. So we really want to make sure our undergrads have access to research. We get a lot of funding every year just to prioritize undergraduate research. So what this means is that you're not going to be competing with graduate students to pursue research opportunities. We want you to be able to do that as early as your first year on campus. So there's a couple of ways our students are doing this. One way is by just talking to a professor, right? If maybe you have a particular topic in mind, you can walk up to your professor, say, "Hey, I really thought that this was interesting from this class that you were speaking about. Is there any way that I could pursue research in this? What research projects are you currently working on?" Because all of our professors are going to be required to do research during their time here. And so that's a great way that our students just get engaged. It's also a great way to make relationships with those professors. The other way students will get involved in research is by going to our Office of Undergraduate Research. So we do have a specific place where you can go. They'll essentially ask you to fill out a form. It'll ask you, what sorts of research are you interested in? And it'll usually match you with a professor who can help sponsor research in that field of interest. Now, this can be related to your major. So, for example, we have students in the marine biology field who will do research out in the Florida Keys during their first year on campus. We do all sorts of cool things there, like shark tagging, coral reef restoration, or it can be nothing related to your major, right? So maybe you're a business major who was really interested in the AI topics that I spoke about today. You could pursue research in that field, maybe explore the ways that they're engaged across disciplines. But that's a really nice thing is research doesn't necessarily have to be in your field of your major. Now, at UM, we also really encourage our students to get involved. So, we are a medium-sized university, but we have big school spirit. And a lot of our students are getting engaged across our over 300 clubs and organizations that we have on campus. During every semester, we'll have our King Kickoff, where we'll essentially bring out all of our student organizations. You can sign up for what sounds of interest to you, whether that be service, right, engaging locally. We do a lot of community service every single year in Coral Gables, where we're located. We also have our Camner Center for Academic Resources for that student support as well. And then some international specific clubs and organizations that I love to talk about. So, first, we have our International Student Mentorship Program. We know that as international students, we want you to feel supported from the moment you step foot on campus here. So, we actually have a mentorship program where you are paired with an upperclassman from the day you start on campus. They'll walk through everything with you from the jet lag that you're going to experience coming to campus all the way to adjusting to the differences in the food, right? The culture. Those are all things that we know are really important for you to think about. And that's why you'll have that mentor from the moment you step foot on campus. We also have international student and scholar services. And so this is our office on campus that works with students on things like getting your visa that you need to be issued to attend school here, making sure that you're in compliance with that visa. If you want to get a job on campus, this is where you'll go for the SSN issuance, right? To make sure that you're staying in compliance with working the 20 hours per week maximum, and they can walk through that with you. Additionally, if you're interested in pursuing any sort of internship here or working after you graduate here in the States, they can work with you on things like OPT and CPT, right? So making sure that you know all the policies and procedures affiliated with that. So they're a really great resource for you. They also sponsor our Council of International Students and Organizations, which houses essentially all of our different international related organizations here on campus. They're really great. They host, especially in the spring right now. I know yesterday we had our Pakistani Students Association like dance on campus, so that was really fun. We'll also have International Education Week in the spring where they'll essentially highlight a different culture on campus every single day. So you get to try out all sorts of really cool food. But there's a lot of different events that we have specifically for international students on campus, and we definitely like to see our students involved. So now I'm going to walk through kind of the application process before we wrap up. So we are on the Common App, and this is what a lot of US institutions will use. So if you all are applying to schools in the States, the Common App is called Common for a reason. It's because a lot of US universities use it. It'll ask you for kind of some background information. You'll talk about what extracurricular activities that you're involved in. You'll write a personal statement. And for us, we also have a supplemental essay. Additionally, we're going to ask for some other materials, so things like your high school transcripts, which will give us context on your academic performance. We'll ask for a letter of recommendation, English proficiency test scores if applicable, and then for students who are graduating from high school outside of the US, so that would likely be all of you on the call right now, we are test optional. So you can submit test scores, which would be the ACT or the SAT, but you're not required to do so. In terms of our admission plans, I always like to kind of walk through the terms that you see here because I think sometimes these can be really confusing for folks who are abroad who might not recognize these terms. So, in a lot of US institutions, you're going to see these different admission plans. Early decision is going to be a binding admission plan. So, what this means is if you're applying early decision, that school is your number one choice. It is the highest indicator of what we call demonstrated interest or demonstrated engagement because it tells us that if you're admitted, you will be enrolling. What will happen is you agree, you'll sign a form that says, if I'm admitted, I will attend the University of Miami. I will withdraw all of my other applications and I will be a cane, right? This is a really great option if you know for sure that UM is your number one choice, no doubt in your mind. And also, it's good for students who are not interested in comparing financial aid packages, right? Because you do need to make that decision prior to getting your financial aid or scholarship package. So if you maybe want to compare other packages, right? Like let's say you know UM is your number one choice, but you want to wait and see kind of what aid and what scholarships you're receiving from a variety of institutions, a non-binding plan might be a better option for you. So for us, that's going to be early action and regular decision. So we have two binding plans, right? Early decision one and two, two non-binding plans with early action and regular decision. Now, the biggest difference between the earlier plans, right? So you'll see two of them have a November 1st deadline, and the later plans with the January 5th deadline. The biggest differences between those is scholarship consideration. So for students who apply by November 1st, either through early decision one or early action, you're automatically considered for our premier scholarships. These are merit-based scholarships that do go up to the full cost of attendance. So we give out full ride scholarships and we'll consider you automatically if you apply early. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to be considered for scholarships for the later admission plans. It just means that they go up to about $30,000 of scholarships rather than that full cost of attendance, which in the US can be pretty expensive. So, if you do want that full consideration for merit scholarships, I always recommend if you're ready to submit your application, do so by November 1st. And remember, we have that non-binding option, right? So if you're not ready to commit fully, you want to weigh your options, early action is a great route. Now, for the later admission plans, as well as the early ones, we do offer financial aid as well for international students. If you're applying for financial aid, so this would be not based on your merit, just based on your financial situation, we do offer it. You'll want to complete something called the CSS profile. This is the institutional aid application, and it allows us to consider your family's financial situation so that we're able to offer an aid package that will allow you to attend UM. You can see here as well your admission notification, right? So this will tell you about when you can expect to receive your admission decision. So the nice thing about applying earlier is you get your decision earlier, right? So you can find out a little bit earlier, know if you're in. And then for the later admission plans, you can see they're late February or by April 1st. So that's kind of all I have on the admission side of things. Let's see, we're right about half an hour. I definitely wanted to share this email address with you. This is intladmission@miami.edu. This is a great resource if you have further follow-up questions for us. We also have current international students in the inbox who are monitoring that. And so if you have questions, about the student experience, I always encourage you to reach out because they can kind of speak to that as well from their perspective. But of course, if you have other questions, you can always reach out to us there. Follow along with us on social media. We're at Admission. We'll often post things like day in the life of a current student. We'll post news about, new sorts of majors and things like that. So that's another great resource for you to follow along with. But that's all I have for now. So I think I will stop my share.